What if I told you that everything that sucks about your business, whether it's customers that are never happy, or the uncertainty of it all, or rising prices, these are the things that will make you the most money? The challenge is the way, and I'm going to prove it to you here in a few seconds. And after I prove it to you, I'm going to teach you how to punish your competitors for the fact that they haven't realized this truth of business. But before we begin, I want you to stop and ask a question. What is a business? What is its purpose? Some of you know the answer to this already. A business solves problems. There's a quote by Elon Musk that says the money that you make is in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. You are in the business of providing solutions. And you're running into problems as you're trying to solve other people's problems and get paid for it. Here's what's more though, you're not alone. And I don't mean this in this like warm, give you a hug, everything's going to be okay sort of way. Your competitors are trying to put you out of business, but they're running into problems too while they're trying to provide the same product or service that you provide. And the best competitors in any space, no matter what you do, they solve this one of two ways. They're either solving for the suck or they are building a business that can endure the suck. And I'm going to teach you to do both in this video. So thank you for coming along to a live stream, my friends. Now, before we get into the rudder and the compass, you may be asking, if you're new here, like, why even listen to me? Why listen to Sean? Well, I have built 4 separate, 7, 8-figure businesses now. Couple 8, one, couple 7, because the newspaper one. Without a silver spoon, by the way, let me not digress too much into ADHD. I was born poor, on welfare, alcoholic parents, in the middle of Wisconsin, dropped out of school, went homeless. My first 7-figure business was in the newspaper industry, okay? The hardest industry you could ever imagine making money in, newspapers. Now, as an old head, grazing the beard, you can see it, I've done decent on social media, right? And I built an 8-figure business in the Airbnb space without ever owning a single property. So the contrarian, counterintuitive stuff, I'm right there with you too, fam, okay? So I got it all for you. So like the video if you want to, but just listen along because I've got a lot to say. Like that song, Open Up the Safe, because I got a lot to say. That's going to be me in this video. Thanks for tuning into the live stream, guys. If anything problematic happens, put in the chat. We just recovered from a disaster 15 minutes ago where this almost went live. Love you guys. So the rudder, this is the first one that a lot of you already have all of the tools at your disposal for this concept. Now, the rudder is a very small part of a ship, and it steers a very big ship. The way what rudder works is it's behind the boat. And if you turn the rudder this way, the boat will go that way, right? So what I like to believe a rudder really signifies in business is self-correcting for past mistakes. And yes, successes do guide the way too, but the mistakes are far more important. Like, for example, in my Airbnb business, my teams, they used to want to celebrate 5-star reviews. Like, yeah, we got a 5-star review. Cool. We're supposed to get a 5-star. We're absolutely supposed to get them all the time. What I said is let's delete that from our agenda in our meetings. I want to look only at our 1-star and 2-star reviews because those are the ones that will tell us if we're doing something wrong. Now, here's the nugget for you, my friends. Okay. Every transaction or every attempt at a transaction is a feedback loop to tell you how successful your business is, how healthy it is anywhere in your sphere, okay? Whether somebody stays with you in an Airbnb or an attempt to get them through a sales funnel or they checked out a tour or whatever you do, there is a health score for your company and whether or not you're doing things the right way. And you can take that feedback loop and you can run with it. But imagine trying to self-correct at the very last minute. Like you were ignoring all the problems in your company. You were ignoring those 2-star reviews. Imagine a car going 90 miles an hour that has to make a right turn at the last minute at 90 miles an hour. I don't care how good your suspension system is, my friends. I don't care how much you soup that car up. That's not going to go well, right? And so a boat with the rudder is the best visual metaphor for this because a rudder slowly steers a massive ship in any direction that it needs to go. We need to be self-correcting early and we need to be self-correcting often. We can even steal this from tech. If you guys read books, I mean, too many books to read, by the way. If you guys read books, there's this concept of rapid iteration from the tech space. And the concept is we get a trash product out. We get a junk minimum viable product, MVP, minimum viable product. We get it out in the hands of some people. And we have them play with it. And all of our assumptions that we make about our business is incorrect. And I can tell you all about Airbnb. Their whole air mattress thing on the floor of a living room for conventions. Nobody stays in a mattress on the floor with Airbnb, do they? No, people stay in mansions and castles and tree houses. Airbnb's minimum viable product had to come out for them to start to get the data. Because if they waited until their app was as good as their app is, with all the features that it has now, and they delayed it years, they would have not gotten like the true customer feedback to let them know that all their assumptions were trash. Everything that they built would have been in a completely different direction, and they should have steered that massive ship much earlier on. They wanted to start they wanted to start roommates.com. That's what they thought they were going to create. You know what they did? They went 4 months or 5 months building the website until somebody thought to go onto their computer and go, well, I wonder if roommates.com is taken. They literally did. Airbnb was not self-correcting, and it wasted them 4, 5, or 6 months. And I'm rife with tragedies of not listening to my mistakes. My death toll in my bank account is probably somewhere near 10 million from trying to be a day trader and from picking up the wrong Airbnb properties and continuing to be stubborn on things that I thought made me money because they made money before, but then industries change and of course everything started to fall apart. So your business leadership is a combination of you having the rudder and you having the compass. And your compass embodies your vision and your intuition, okay? Without your vision and intuition, without your ability to see things before other people see things, or without your ability to be free thinking, if you only follow other people who've done it first, and I'm talking to you guys, you're watching my YouTube channel, and if any of you are watching my YouTube channel for more than a few months, you may be guilty of just doing what I do in the space, in the Airbnb space, right? And if you only do what I do, I mean, thankfully this channel is not popular enough that you will do better than a lot of hosts, but you will always still be second place at best because you're following someone else. If you're not first, you're last, Ricky Bobby. So what I need you to understand is no matter what you get from the universe, all the signals you get, all the leadership you get, all the mentorship that you get, you need to at one point be a little crazy and a little disagreeable. You need to be a little bit counterculture, a little bit contrarian, and you need to have some sort of vision for your business. Now, my businesses are very specific, and I don't want to make this video overly specific, but I will give you the best examples that I can give you from my experience. Okay, so one of the major truths of business is when things change, and like they change in all companies, that when your competitors have the same problems that you have, that is a market force that gives you your opportunity. Okay. So for example, in my newspaper business, I'm going to do this chronologically. That's why we're doing the ADHD pin turn right now. In my newspaper business, my very first successful business, there was a time where the Houston Chronicle newspaper changed their rates. We sold subscriptions. Like we'd go to a grocery store, we set up a little table and say, hi, please buy the paper to your house. God, imagine that, right? Imagine me trying to be an influencer telling you that you can make money selling newspaper subscriptions. That'd be so gross, okay? But we did that. We did these monthly memberships for like $16 a month. And at one point they raised the rate to like 28 or 32 or some crazy number different, right? Per month. So they were like nearly doubling their rates. Here's what's really cool about this, okay? If you're already built for this, if you're already built for change, which is one thing I want to instill into you in this video, then everyone else who sells your product, when that change happens, they freak the hell out. They just freak and shut down. Every other competitor in the space, there's like probably 4 or 5 companies that did what I did in Houston. They shut down. They did not know how to handle a rate change. They were selling something for a certain rate. So everybody had their little dog and pony show, like, hey, mom and pop person, do this thing. Here's a gift card for Kroger or HEB and like buy the paper. Now that the rate changed, their whole skit was different. They couldn't use the same dog and pony show skit. They had to rewrite their story in front of these customers on a dime. And no one could do it because everybody thought that it was always going to be the same way. And they never philosophically thought in their head that anything could ever change. In the Airbnb space, this happens all the time. Hilton came for Airbnb's throat with the whole cleaning fees thing. Airbnb just removed cleaning fees from their site, so that's no longer visible. Airbnb just implemented AI for their review removal policy. They're removing listings by the boatload. Like Donald Trump's immigration policy and the visa thing is going to cause international travel to get a little bit volatile. And all these things are going to scare the hell out of hosts. And some hosts won't adapt. They're not going to see these boulders falling as an opportunity to play dodgeball and to beat everybody else in the game. People aren't built for this. No one is built for this. So if you could just stop, slow down, and tell yourself that this is my true effing opportunity to be better at boulder dodgeball while everyone else loses their head, like what I did in the newspaper industry first, is I told everybody in a meeting, I'm like, this is going to take everybody, blindside them. All of our competitors are going to freak the hell out. I know you feel it in your guts right now too. You guys all have a sale, right? You all have the thing that puts bread on your table for your family and you're scared. But I will tell you what, everyone else is scared too. Let's use this to brainstorm right now, come up with a couple ways to attack this. And as everyone else flounders and stumbles, we'll be the only vendor for our newspaper that continues its production. And we will win all of the territory. Within a year, we were one of 2 vendors instead of one of 5. And we're the one with all the territory. The other vendor did special events only. We took over the entire city from that one meeting. Well, that was really interesting. Sorry, I guess I'm pounding my grand piano a little too much, guys. By the way, pump the chat. Was that valuable? Was that good? I know I only teach Airbnb. I hope that was actually special. Let me switch this up a little bit. There we go. So, the ability to adapt to external forces is one part of your rudder, okay? It's like navigating the skies, there's obstacles. But what about your internal rudder? What about the shit that you do wrong? The mistakes that you made? The customer that you made a mistake on, your 1-star reviews? You need the feedback loop. You need the honesty, the clarity of self, the humility to know that your business doesn't care if you're cool or not. God, this is the cross I bared for years. I wanted to be liked so bad. I wanted to be respected and loved so bad. And I could not take criticism. Like right now, if any of you in the chat, by the way, Kelly, you were so nice. But if you were mean to me right now, you told me that I was wrong, or if you told me that you don't like the way that I talk, okay? That would have crushed me 6 or 7 years ago when I first started this YouTube channel. All I wanted to do was to prove to you guys that I was good at something. And if I ever did anything wrong, I would just argue with you. I would never accept the accountability for the faults of my company or my channel. I made a ton of mistakes. But I would argue with you about how in some abstract way I was right. How many of you are guilty of this? Maybe it's an ADHD thing. You are so good at playing devil's advocate that you can argue your way out of your failures. This will put you out of business because your clients, they don't care. My subscribers here, if I'm a dick, they will leave. And I could defend myself like, oh, I was a dick because it was a point. I was just trying to embody the right energy in a video. I wanted to come off strong to let people know it was serious. Well, I'm coming off strong fucking right now, but I'm not doing it in a way that's being a dick. And if I did, I'd have to go, okay, I was really mean to people. And I would have to self-correct. Because if it came out in a second or third or fourth video, you guys would leave and my business in social media could fail. Your ability to be humble, even though you're smart and you're a survivor, is one of the most important things that you can embody. Okay? I love that you're smart. I love that you're a survivor. I love that you can get through it. You're just like me. Like, gosh, overshare moment here. I don't even know how I could say it. My mom was dangerous. My mom tried to kill me. She threw me down the stairs. She was an alcoholic. Obviously, you guys all knew that. But to survive my mom, I had to become a certain type of person, right? And the consequences of that is I was way off base as a kid, right? I lied to myself a lot. I lied to others a lot. I lived in fantasy a lot. I was reclusive, musician, whatever. And I had to become a survivor. And some of you have trauma too, right? I don't want to get heavy in every video, but a lot of you guys have trauma. And there's a book called David versus Goliath that talks about this. He more focuses on ADHD, dyslexia, stuff like that. But there's another book called Super Survivors. Read both. David versus Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell and Super Survivors. Jam them together and you have a recipe for being unstoppable. Having trauma makes you more durable. Having dyslexia makes you more durable because you had to try harder as a kid just to get by, right? And I want you to champion those things if that's you, right? I want you to champion those parts of you if that truly is you, but you need to stop trying to defend yourself as a business owner, okay? Your rudder is stuck because you're stubborn, okay? You need to be able to gently steer your rudder when your team or your customers are not happy, when things need to change, okay? That is an important part of the past feedback loop of your business. Now, this will get really long, so let's move on. I have plenty to say. Open up the safe. I got a lot to say about the rudder, but let's talk about the compass. Let's talk about your vision. Let's talk about your intuition. Some of you have sick intuition. And I didn't believe in intuition for a long time because I just was a very grounded, earthly kind of person. But intuition is what allows us to see things that are almost visible and start to take action on that. Even though Airbnb screwed up with the air mattresses on the floor thing, that was still intuitive enough that they were able to build a business because it was close enough to the mark. You know, they say almost only works, in horseshoes and hand grenades? Well, in business is a lot of hand grenades. And so being an almost kind of person, because your intuition is almost on the mark, that's so great. Because if you have a team that can think analogically or extrapolate or know relationships between things, if you can be almost all the time, your team will take it the rest of the way that fast. Because people are very good at connecting dots that are very close together. Okay? So your intuition doesn't have to be perfect, is what I'm saying. You need to trust your intuition to be close enough. And you need to say it out loud. Tell your friends, tell your family, I got this idea. I think this would be cool. What do you think about this? I think customers in my space need more of this. I think they're secretly upset about X, Y, or Z, but nobody's talking about it. Let your intuition scream in your business. Let it get close enough. And then ask your team to take it the rest of the way. Ask your friends if you don't have a team, right? Ask your cat and just internal dialogue, okay? Or externally process. Your intuition will change your company. Only if you let it out of the box. It needs to echo around, okay? And the feedback loop of this, I want to recommend another book. There's a book, it's old school. So good though. It's called Brain Steering. I'm going to type it into the chat right now. So this is going to be only available live. Brain Steering. I'll try to type it in the chat later. This book talks about how to reframe everything by asking the right questions. So if you're stuck in this intuitive spot where you're like, man, I really feel like there's something on the tip of my tongue and I just don't know what to do. This book, Brain Steering, helps you get more out of your brain or see things differently by asking yourself questions, because your brain is basically a computer. And this book was written way before AI. And AI is proving how our brain is basically like a super processing computer. We're recreating the brain, and look at everything that's coming. Isn't it so cool? So Brain Steering is a great book for this. And your compass is a combination of your intuition and this feedback loop from your rudder that self-corrects your supercomputer. There's another book called Blink that I really like, and I could go on for 30 minutes about Blink, but I'll let you read it. This concept of intuition and knowledge come together is what the book is all about, and that's what I'm trying to express here. Your compass is magnetic, and your compass is drawn to something. Keeping your compass calibrated is going to be one of the most important things you can do, which is a combination of your intuition and your expertise in whatever your field is. And your compass will feel a pull, and you'll feel it too. You go, wait, I don't know if I can express this, but. And so here's an example. A year ago, I did a video about hacking the Airbnb algorithm. I said that Airbnb is becoming more like Amazon. And you know what they did a month ago? I made the video a year ago, and I've taught for a year with full-throated confidence that Airbnb changed their algorithm. I've been doing it a whole year. I hung my hat on that shit. And Airbnb a month ago, in their press release, right before they shot up to $166, they said, we are becoming the Amazon of travel. Right? My intuition and expertise in the Airbnb industry had my compass so calibrated because I trust myself so much that I was able to move forward on that subtle magnetic pull of intuition and expertise. And if you move forward on these little inklings of intuition, your competitors will never be able to keep up with you. You'll find out that guests like in the Airbnb space, guests like tea and decaf, or guests like having a barrel sauna, or guests like a barrel sauna that has flowers all over it. Or people with Turo like not just a bottle of water, but they like something else in the car. Or people like not having multiple buttons to click in a funnel. If you guys do ClickFunnels, you already get that already. But let's imagine you didn't take a ClickFunnels course. The stuff that you could intuitively understand about a funnel can come without ever having to pay a coach. A lot of the people in my space, my students who pay me to learn Airbnb, have made over $1 billion. But the amount of money that people have made for free from this YouTube channel probably far exceeds that. And it exceeds that because people have taken the bits that I give them here and they go and they run with it. And their intuition guides the way. Your connection to self guides your future, but your inability to be self-correcting from your past gunks it up. So if you want your compass to calibrate and you want to really trust yourself, you have to be honest with your past. You have to forgive yourself. You have to be self-correcting, and you really have to have a clean flow from past to present to future. But it starts in your past. I'd like you guys to sit down, look at your one-star reviews, look at your worst customers, and ask yourself, how could I have done this better? And if you can clear your ledger from your past, you will have an amazing future. Okay? Thank you so much for watching this video. I will respond to all of the chat right now directly. Just don't want to make this